Romans chapter 8, smack dab in the middle of this wonderful letter that Paul writes to the Church of Rome so that they will support him as he goes on to take the gospel to Rome. And it has some of the most beloved verses in the Bible. Just kind of intermixed throughout. I mean, there's these wonderful concepts and beautiful things for us to remember, but it has it has some of the most beautiful, wonderful verses. And I just encourage you to pick up your Bible today. I'm happy if you're watching this and you get some benefit from this, but please don't let this be your Bible intake for the day. Let this be maybe something that spurs you into that. I don't care where you read, but pick it up and read it. Romans 8 is well worth your time. So in verse 16 and 17, Paul, having just talked about that we are children of God, but we walk around and we live our lives, and it's easy not to focus on that, or not even to believe it, or not even to think about the fact that we are children of God. So then he's going to say, well, how do you know you're a child of God? How do I know for sure? I don't feel like a child of God. If I was going to draw a picture of a child of God, they may not look like me. But he says this. He says, the Spirit himself, the Spirit that lives inside of you, bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God. And if children, listen to this, then heirs of God and fellow heirs with Christ, provided we suffer with him in order that we may also be glorified with him. There is a ton in those, especially verse 17, but he's saying, how do you know you're a child of God? And then he goes on in verse 17, what's the benefit? One of the benefits of being a child of God? You know you're a child of God because the Spirit of God bears witness with your spirit. There is something internally that the Spirit does to affirm. I think part of it is he gives us a new nature. And so we love new things. One of the marks, I believe, of people who have trusted Jesus is they love Jesus. That there is a sense, like he talked about in a few verses earlier, that we are debtors. We are in great debt because he loved us and laid himself down for us. When we look at him, we look at the man on the cross, there's something inside of us that is drawn toward him. We love him. And I think that's part of what Paul is getting at. This witness of the Spirit. And then he says, we are heirs. Philippians chapter 2 says that Jesus is going to inherit. He's going to rule and reign over all. Every knee will bow, every tongue will confess. That's his right inheritance because of who he is and what he did. But we are heirs of God and fellow heirs with Christ. That's just unbelievable. What an amazing grace that we are heirs of Christ, heirs with Christ.